Okay, today is a fun one. I don't know why I'm particularly this excited, but I am, and today is a really fun one because we get to paint a sort of picture by numbers that is absolutely hilarious. No beating around the bush, let's just begin. Right now, the metaverse is an extremely high profile term. To demonstrate this, look no further than Facebook, which completely rebranded itself in order to pursue the concept, and alongside them are a host of other projects as well that range in legitimacy from, that might be cool someday, I guess, all the way to, this has got to be some sort of inside joke. There's Earth 2, trying to be like Ready Player One or The Matrix, according to their home website page, and really just selling little Google map tiles that have cratered in value to a point where people lost everything, can't get out, can't cash out, or just gave up. That one aged really well. There's The Sandbox, which is a crypto version of the metaverse, and at least has a rudimentary game of sorts, even if it's terrible. Or there's Axie Infinity, which is definitely not a metaverse in reality, but keeps kind of pretending to be. Here's the price chart for that piece of shit, by the way, where pretty much everyone lost everything, because the economy was a broken Ponzi scheme from the start and became an inflationary doomsday cycle. I was actually supposed to be in a Vice News documentary about that particular one. I went down to their New York headquarters and did like 6 hours of filming in the studio even, predicting that this exact thing would happen, and then it happened, and they didn't use any of it. I guess they didn't like me, but that's all beside the point. Anyway, point is, there are a lot of metaverse projects, from Horizon Worlds, the Facebook one, to an army of broke-down jank-ass indie teams who are just ripping people off. However, one among them stands tall, and by stands tall, I mean has a valuation so astronomically fucked up it's barely possible to write the script for this video with a straight face. That project, obviously, according to the title, is Decentraland. But to really tell the story, we have to look at a series of reports, refutations, market capitalizations, and successful video games. Dear viewer, come with me on this journey as we discuss how this piece of shit right here has a $1.2 billion market cap. It all begins with DappRadar, which is a blockchain and crypto data aggregator. According to DappRadar, referring to Decentraland, which utilizes a token called Mana and has a nearly $1.2 billion market cap right now. At its peak, it was actually nearly 10 times higher than that, so what, 12 billion? But yeah, as I write this right now, it's about 1.2. Anyway, according to DappRadar, Decentraland only had 38, yes, 38, not 3,800 or 38,000, 38 daily active users. I know, a $1.2 billion project with just 38 users per day. What more can I even say about this? However, this is where it gets fun. Decentraland officially responded to this, as it hit a sort of mainstream crypto news cycle and refuted these metrics with their own numbers. 38 was just the users interacting with specific smart contracts, they said, and the real numbers were far higher. There are a few claims here, but one of them is the most important, referring to MAUs, or monthly active users. According to Decentraland themselves, decrying all of the misinformation, they love that word in the space, there are 56,967 average monthly active users, and of course, that would appear to be far higher than the estimate from DappRadar suggesting just 38 daily. Sweet vindication for the crypto bros. Yeah? Not so much. Let's take them at their word. Face value, what you see is what you get. 56,967 monthly active users, with a $1.2 billion valuation, which is down something like 80 to 90% since the peak, by the way, but what do we see if we just look at it right now? Well, let's first compare it to a social media company. Twitter, when compared to other social media giants like Facebook, as an obvious example, is relatively small. Of course, the comparison is imperfect, that much is very clear, but let's just begin by getting a baseline of sorts. Twitter is valued right now during the Elon Musk takeover drama at roughly $38 billion by professional markets. Fair, unfair, that's up to you individually, but it's the data we have. That value means that the market cap is, give or take, 30 times higher than Decentraland, which isn't really a social media per se, it's more of a game, but again, bear with me. 30 times the market cap might reasonably mean 30 times higher monthly active users, right? Maybe? Actually, no. In reality, that kind of direct correlation doesn't work at all because Twitter monetizes the user base in a very different way. So we can't sit here and expect that there would be an exact correlation. But even so, let's just take a look. 30 times higher in market cap, but how many monthly active users? According to some estimates, 330 million. According to others, 450 million. And even if we settle on the lowest possible estimation that I could find, it would be 300 million MAUs, which is, no joke, roughly 6,000 times higher than Decentraland. Market cap 30 times higher, user base 6,000 times higher. Yes, again, hard to compare because the platforms are entirely separate and Decentraland users are intrinsically participating in a monetization system, or an in-game economy. But still, with a market cap that high, pretty wild to see the matchup. Still, why not do a much better comparison? Let's take, for example, Grand Theft Auto 5. By the way, this is the most profitable and best-selling entertainment product of all time. Grand Theft Auto 5 is operated by Rockstar Games, which is owned by Take-Two Interactive, a prominent video game publisher. And Take-Two Interactive, run by CEO Strauss Zelnick, is notoriously obsessed with per-user monetization, maximized revenue, and extracting as much capital as humanly possible from a video game player base. Why does it matter? Let's take a look. Take-Two Interactive has a market capitalization of $19.71 billion, which is, roughly speaking, 16 times higher than Decentraland. Obviously, we should expect that to be true, given that Take-Two has a very large number of highly successful titles under its umbrella. They have a lot of popular games, including the most successful individual entertainment property ever, GTA 5. Knowing the market cap, as well as understanding a much more comparable foundation, what is the average monthly user base for GTA 5? Approaching 18 million, which would be something like 300 times higher than Decentraland. So that's 16 times the market cap, but 300 times the population in just one game. Let's add in a few more. Take-Two also owns the 2K NBA franchise. Latest iteration of NBA 2K by itself, I couldn't find the explicit monthly active users, by the way, but this should be just as good to demonstrate. 1.9 million daily active players. Remember, and also for those that don't know, NBA 2K has a persistent online component that is heavily monetized. The player base itself continually groans under the strain of aggressive monetization. All 1.9 million daily active members of that population, as revealed in Take-Two quarterly investor calls, by the way, if anyone's curious about sources. And yet with a daily player count for this one game that is well over 30 times higher than the monthly player count of Decentraland, it's still only 16 times higher in market cap. I think everyone can tell where I'm going with this logically. While it's impossible to extrapolate precisely what the per-user spending is for any of these examples, or Decentraland itself, without insider access to privileged information, the metrics simply do not line up. A worldwide behemoth publisher with some of the most popular and well-monetized franchises in entertainment history, boasting a monthly active player count that is most likely upwards of 10 to 15,000 times higher than Decentraland, is only worth 16 times as much in terms of market cap? No matter what you use as a comparison, the numbers just flat out don't work, and they're comedic. Ubisoft, market cap of $3.4 billion, we can just say 3 times higher for the sake of math, 34 million monthly active players, 3 times the value, 600 times the player base. Yes, people will begin to rage right now about average land prices and user spending habits. Yes, there are stark differences between viral speculation assets and popular video games. Yes, having land cost thousands of dollars for a few pixels will inflate the numbers quite a bit, but we're talking about a metaverse here. Metaverse as a fundamental concept necessitates widespread user adoption, which will not happen when required spending is through the roof. Any metaverse candidate must by definition appeal to the masses, which Decentraland categorically does not. The current valuation is so massively overblown it beggars belief, and in a now common pattern across all of the Web3 world, they are crashing back down to earth with no parachute. Remember Axie Infinity, the one with the scary price drop of 99%? Yeah, Axie Infinity, to just round out the comparisons with a failed crypto project and not just video game publishers or social media companies, has roughly 700,000 monthly active users and a market capitalization of 141 million. Just think about that. Another competing crypto metaverse project has 1/8 of the market cap, but 13 times the player base. Now, one can absolutely argue that the inflationary economics of SLP, Smooth Love Potion, the currency behind Axie, and the inverse deflationary economics of Mana, the crypto behind Decentraland, are quite different. But to emphasize the similarities that do exist, we can look at a key moment in metaverse history, if you will. That moment is when Mark Zuckerberg announced the rebrand of Facebook to Meta, and specifically articulated that they would now be a metaverse-first company. That singular event is what sent Decentraland's popularity skyrocketing through the roof, and during the peak of this FOMO-driven hype, there was a record-breaking digital real estate sale valued at $2.4 million. That was the largest individual land purchase in metaverse history, but separated by mere days, there was a $2.3 million purchase in Axie Infinity. The comparison here is extremely obvious. Two projects propelled by growth to an unimaginable and totally undeserved market value by an announcement from a global powerhouse with nearly identical interest in their digital land, at least from a landmark sales perspective, will inevitably come crashing back down to earth. Axie Infinity has done so, but also commands 13 times the player base in the process. Decentraland? Not yet fully, some would say partially, but when the crash finally does take place in full force, it will be devastating. All of this can be summed up in one short, simple paragraph. What if we took Second Life, a popular game from 20 years ago, and remade it? What if we made it worse in every conceivable way? Graphics, prices, gameplay, etc. What if we shoehorned a crypto token into the economy and then launched it with a goal to become the new digital frontier of social existence? What would happen? Would we succeed? Would we redefine the fabric of human interaction by digitizing it and making our entire rapidly expanding community rich in the process? Or would we fail? Would we fail to capture interest, fail to make something revolutionary, and fail to make people rich while failing to succeed because we launched something objectively worse than a game that was developed 2 decades ago with a token valuation higher than could ever have been deserved, catalyzed by a series of events that were never actually important? And to answer that series of questions there, it's very self-evident. For anyone still struggling with the concept, the answer is total failure. Bottom line, Decentraland was evaluated by a crypto analytics company to have just 38 daily active users, which is hilariously low given their ridiculous valuation. They responded by claiming to have 56,000 monthly active users, which is, go figure, hilariously low given their ridiculous valuation. No matter the comparison you make, no matter the company, the industry, whatever comparison that I was making over the entire course of researching this video, Decentraland is ridiculously overvalued, and there is only one possible result. That's it. If you want to support, there are links down below, primarily locals and Patreon to support financially, also social media. I'll have some new holiday merch soon, another YouTuber to check out, and more, but I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching, and have a nice night.